What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name is Simon Hill. If you're new here, I'll introduce myself very briefly. I'm a Black American. I'm from Louisiana. I'm a world traveler, digital nomad, nascent YouTuber, Muslim, friend to the third world, yada, yada, yada. Said it all before. Anyway, I've been traveling the world for the past 6 years, and I'm very blessed to live this lifestyle thanks to the job I have, the opportunities I have, and the courage I have within my heart to always follow my dreams, my passion, and not let anybody tell me what I can do or what I can't do. There are some people, predominantly white people, who say that I talk about blackness or race on my channel too much, as if they are too stupid to know that this channel, as I've said previously many times before, is meant for black travelers. It's a black travel vlog where I give black opinions. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in every video I drop. If you don't like that, click away. Even though I have lived on more nations than I can count on one hand and been to so many different places and cities, I have experienced racism, anti-blackness, and white supremacy all across the world. Have I let that stop me though? Have I let the bigotry, ignorance, hate people have for black people across the world stop me? No. As you see right now, I'm filming this video in Vlore, Albania, a beautiful, beautiful beach in a beautiful country geographically with an interesting history, interesting people, and an interesting culture. Inshallah, I'll have the opportunity to see more of Europe. Inshallah, I'll have the opportunity to see more of Asia, more of South America, more of Africa, more of my home continent, North America. I'll have the opportunity, hopefully, if God wills, to allow me to explore this beautiful planet on this brief lifespan that I have. And I will be bringing my tongue, my heart, my words everywhere, and nobody's gonna stop me. So I hope my life is an example for other black people in the diaspora, in Africa, anywhere, that you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be. You can see whatever you want to see, and you can think however you want to think. And we're not gonna let white people or black people with white supremacist tendencies tell us what to do, where to go, and how to be. Remember, class, racism is not our problem, it's their problem. They're only hurting themselves when they hate black people, when they disrespect black people, when they disregard black people, and especially when they try to tell black people what to think. But that's not the topic of today's video. Today's video is about having respect to the countries that we go to, and also how countries that we go to need to respect us. I am defining respect as treating people with dignity and courtesy and politeness, not being overly caring for them, but especially not being rude to them. As an American, this might be a hard lesson for us to learn, black or whites, because many Americans, unfortunately, are indoctrinated with the idea that we come from a superior nation and a superior people, and we need to kill that idea within us. Because if history has not shown that America is not the greatest nation in the world, the freest nation in the world, the most livable, viable nation in the world, then traveling around the world and going to different countries and experiencing different things will show you definitely none of what they tell us about our own country, where we grow up, is true at all. That includes me as well. I'm guilty. Yes, there was a time, a long, long time ago, when I was a young traveler, fresh off the porch, when I would go to different countries and make rash and harsh judgments about them. So here's a quick story. Back in 2018, I went to Indonesia for the first time, and I lived in Indonesia for about 3.5 months. While there in Indonesia, I saw that people sit on the floor in formal settings while they're waiting for something. They sit down and cross their legs. This was something new to me. This was my first time in Asia. I never saw that before. People at the movie theater waiting for the movie to start. There's a bench right there, but many people are sitting on the floor instead cross-legged. There's a bank. People are waiting in line to take out their deposit, and they're sitting cross-legged on the floor. And I said this one time when I was with an Indonesian person, and she said to me, "This is just the culture. Why are you laughing at this? This is not a joke." And I felt bad about saying that to her, that it looks silly, it looks dumb, it looks juvenile and childish to see people sitting on the floor. That was my ignorance being checked by somebody who was from there and letting me know that, hey, this is just how we do things here, and it's okay. And I got over that. And now here I am, trying to sit cross-legged. And it's always been a curse for me because I could never properly sit cross-legged. I'm too thick. Another more recent situation is my trip to Africa. Last year and up until early this year, I was in Tanzania and Kenya, and when I would go to the bar to order a beer, they would say, do you want it hot or cold? Hot or cold? And my wife and I, she was with me traveling throughout Africa, and we would always say cold, and then we would laugh about drinking warm beer, right? But little did I know, when you do the research in the history on beer drinking, beer was traditionally drunk warm. The first beers, and up until very recently, up until the invention of refrigeration, beer was mostly drunk warm, and that's the traditional way to drink it. And even in some parts of Europe, I believe, they drink beer warm. So that was interesting for me to learn that in Africa, they're keeping that tradition alive of drinking warm beer. And that also checked me on my ignorance, and that's something I learned from traveling as well. There are many more examples I could give, and these might seem minute to you or minuscule to you, but they are profound to me because they always show that I have something to learn. They always show that there's ignorance that lives within us, and we need to see the world to experience how different people interact with the world. But keep in mind, the situations I mentioned have nothing to do with treating other people. They're all about how people, as individuals, choose to live their own lives. A person decides to sit on the floor instead of sitting on the bench because that's natural to him. A person decides to drink warm beer instead of cold beer, or cold beer instead of warm beer because that's natural for him. That has nothing to do with courtesy and respect. I can respect that in Indonesia they decide to sit on the floor, but I cannot respect the multiple times in Indonesia where I was called niga by the Indonesian people. I can respect the Kenyan or Tanzanian choosing to drink warm beer over cold beer, but what I cannot respect is the white worship and white supremacist mindset that exists in the minds of the Africans. I cannot respect an African saying that white is beautiful and I want to go to Europe and white is more beautiful than anything in the world and I love white women and all that other stuff. I cannot respect that sort of mindset. You see, it's very simple. Respecting a country, its culture, its nation, its people, however you want to frame it, is about acknowledging that there are things that might be different about that place and accepting them. But it does not include, under any circumstances, accepting disrespect, intolerance, racism, anti-blackness, or white supremacist thinking. Respect is a two-way street. You have to give respect to get respect. First and foremost, a country does show respect by allowing you to enter if you have the proper passport or visa, documentation, whatever, and you enter without the intention to harm the nation, commit crime, or do anything like that. But the respect has to be reciprocal by the people of that nation. If we come as tourists, as visitors, or as intended permanent residents or intended future citizens, you have to talk to these people in a respectful way. Be polite, be courteous, not disrespectful for any group of people, not just black people, but it goes all ways. People have to show respect to get respect. Just because I am an obviously visible foreigner in a country that is mostly homogenous and you might feel this is quote unquote your land, this does not give you the right to disrespect me as a person by calling me racial slurs, disrespecting me, making fun of me, trying to denigrate me, or anything like that. Because you would not like to be treated that way if you came to my country. You're violating the very first tenet of respect, which is that you have to give it to get it. And if you disrespect me, I have no compulsion at all, no obligation whatsoever to continue to respect you. And who determines offense or disrespect is up to the group or individual that receives the comment that caused offense or disrespect to be taken. It is not up to the individual or group that made the comment that caused offense to then say that this cannot be taken as offensive or disrespectful. Your mama has the right to be offended if I tell her, bitch, you're crazy, even if I meant to say, bitch, you crazy. So while some black people might not have been offended the time when I was in Serbia and the cab driver told me you must have a big dick because you're black, I took offense to that because that's my personal right. I'm black. I gotta live with that stereotype. And my very thick, very large African penis is not your concern, buddy. So don't even worry about it. While other black people might be okay with being called nigga, 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 nigga multiple times while out in public in Albania, I'm not, and I have that right. Why? Because I'm black, motherfucker. I gotta live with that shit all the time. And by the way, just to be clear, because unfortunately I still get stupid racist white people who watch my videos even though they know this channel is exclusively black, I have to say this. I am pretty sure the vast majority of reasonable, decent black men would not like to have their penis stereotyped or be called racial slurs in a foreign country. Anyway, the point is this. You cannot demand respect, especially from black tourists, if you continue to disrespect black tourists, black travelers, period. Black tourists are some of the most understanding, loving, caring people on the planet because it is very hard to travel while black. We're trapped even in the diaspora, especially if we're from Africa. It's hard to travel as a black tourist. So we're very grateful to be out and about in the world that is literally hostile to our existence. Therefore, when you do see us out, please show us respect, show us dignity, show us kindness and courteousness. Don't call us racial slurs in the street. Don't harass us in grocery stores. Don't assume things about our genitalia or our sexuality. It's not nice. Some very stupid non-black people are going to comment right now, well, yeah, you know, as an Asian person or as a white person, I go different places and people say this. This applies even to you too. So shut up. Everybody should respect tourists, foreigners, when they're in different countries, abroad. Respect goes always for all people whenever we are traveling. So, black travelers, I encourage all of us to go outside in the world and explore. Never let anybody put boundaries on us, tell us where to go or where not to go. We are free everywhere because we are a blameless people. We didn't do anything to anybody, so there's no reason for anybody to hate us. The only reason people hate us is because they have been lied to by the white supremacist media that has spread propaganda around the world as if we were the ones to colonize, rape, and pillage the planet. We weren't. Spoiler alert. But as we travel, we need to demand our respect. We should not be tolerating people calling us racial slurs, insulting our characters, insulting our names, insulting us if we're in interracial relationships, insulting our wives, insulting our children, any of that. Let's demand our respect by doing what white tourists have been doing for years, leaving reviews on Yelp, on Google, on hotels.com, on booking.com, making YouTube videos about it, making TikToks, doing things on Instagram, posting about our experiences, positive and negative. We can let our voices be heard, and that's what we need to do. We need to demand our respect by standing up against the disrespect. Not just smiling and kowtowing and tap dancing for white people and letting shit roll off our back and not telling people about our experiences abroad. No, we need to let the world know how we think as black tourists and let it be out there so people know to respect us. Because one thing that tourism depends on is word of mouth. It's all about how people talk about a place that makes people want to go or not go. And I've had people tell me, I was thinking about going to X country until I saw Simon Hill's video, or I will go to Y country because I saw Simon Hill's video. That's the power of the voice. I don't have to fight a racist in the street. I don't have to argue with him in the street. I can come on here and let the world know how much racism I've experienced in any country around the world, and let the world decide who's telling the truth. Let the world decide through the footage and the camera and the imagery that I put out, and let the world know about racism and white supremacy against black people abroad. And then y'all can decide. Y'all can decide. But I demand my respect by standing up and saying, that's wrong, and that's right, and that's okay. I have the right to do that like any other person. Nobody would be attacking me if I was a white man talking about my experiences traveling, or if I was a general white woman talking about my experiences traveling, and if I was dealing with sexism or anything like that. But because I'm a black man, of course I get attacked, because racists hate when black people bring up the racism that they perpetrate against us. Well, you know what? Time's up, buddy. Time's up. We have a voice. We have a platform. You're not going to shut us out. I'm going to continue traveling in Albania and being everywhere around the world. Now it's time to hop in this beach. Thanks for watching this video. My name is Simon Hill, reporting from Vlore, Albania. Respect to all black travelers. Respect all people around the world. And peace.